Hey everyone, welcome back to another video breaking down US30. And before we get into this week's breakdown, I want to show you last week's where everything that was mentioned played out to perfection. I talked about price breaking up above here. It did come back to a retest, but it didn't hold. And then this level right here was tapped, and then price went down below this level. And I said that if price goes below this level of 39,289, then there's a possibility, a high possibility for price to continue selling off. You can see that it did, came back up for a retest, and then it just sold off tremendously. So let's go ahead and make sure that we're keeping the same type of analysis going for this particular week. So let me go ahead and do fresh analysis just because there were so many moves and I want to clear some of the stuff off of my chart. So let's just go ahead and right click and remove drawings. Wow. All right, so let's start as we always do on the weekly time frame, just taking a look. Let me scoot this over and adjust the axis, the price, and the date. So as we can see, there's a huge bearish engulfing candle that closed at the end of last week, signifying that there is a possibility for continued sales next week. And basically, I am looking at this level at 38,683, possibly because a support was formed there previously on the weekly time frame. But the fact that this bearish engulfing candle rejected tells me that there is a possibility for a retest or for a possibility of a reversal. Obviously, we don't know 100%, but this is a really key level for US30. So basically anything can happen. And of course, the things that we do on this channel as we chart from the upside and from the downside, because we just never know, and we want to make sure that we capitalize no matter what happens inside of the market. So let's go ahead, get rid of that arrow, and then let's go ahead and look at the daily time frame. So looking at the daily time frame here, we can see that price is generally still in an uptrend. It formed a support kind of at that 38,600-ish level that I just talked about on the weekly. So let's just go ahead and break this down. And this is the time frame that I actually want to start drawing out my levels, mainly because it's easier for me to analyze it. So when you're going through this process and doing it yourself, it may be easier for you to start your analysis on H4, where there's a lot more data, or maybe even some other time frame. But let's just go ahead and plot out really thinly right now this level at the top, mainly because, let me zoom this in a little bit. All right, and scoot it over. All right, so mainly because we have this resistance level that was formed here. We also have another resistance level. We have this bullish candle, weak bullish candle, and then we have this strong bearish candle right here. And the fact that these aren't next to each other like these are, I'm just kind of taking the average of this level. So that looks good enough for me. And then I want to mark off my support level. So I'm just going to take this, highlight it, Command C because I'm on a Mac, Command V, and then let's put it down here because this is the most recent support level. So I want to actually move this over a little bit because I'm also noticing some supports all throughout this level that I just talked about, 38,566, 38,600 roughly. So let me just draw that out right there. Okay, and then actually I want to extend it a little bit because we just don't know what's going to happen. Okay, cool. So I like the way that this support level looks. I'm not going to draw any additional levels just yet. So let's go down to H4. All right. And okay, nice. Now we have a whole lot more data here. I do want to make this line a little bit more thinly just because I see that resistance level that we talked about on the daily. Price did gap up and then it came back down. So that is looking like it was a fake out type of movement because price went up, made us think, okay, it's going to continue up. But nope, it closed back underneath this resistance level and then continued down hard. So let's go ahead and scoot this over a little bit and see what we have going on over on the left. So if we take this support that we drew, and we make it a little bit more thinly, we can see that price is lining up really nicely at these wick areas right here, and then also at this support level right here around 38,000. 600-ish, 550-ish. It's kind of all of a zone. So when you're drawing these levels out and you go from level to level, or at least time frame to time frame, it's not going to be like perfect numbers. It's not going to always stay excuse me, the number that you saw on the higher time frames, mainly because these things you have to keep refining them as you move in levels because you get more data. So you have to adjust with the data that you're seeing. Just like if you're in the live market, things change, you have to adjust with the market. So we just want to make sure that these are as precise as possible. So let's go here. Move that up. I'm liking the way it's looking right here with these rejections. There's a lot of consolidation there, but I do see these wicks right here where it's rejecting this level, so I'm really happy with this level. And then I actually do want to scoot this in a little bit and take a look at some of these other levels right here. So I'm seeing a level that may be a key level right here, so I'm going to take this and copy it. And then I'm going to tell you why I put this right here. Around, what is this, 37,771, just because on that weekly time frame when we saw that huge bearish engulfing candle, it looks like price could continue to go down, and I want to make sure that I'm capturing any of that that potential movement. So I placed this line right here mainly because we see, or at least I see, this rejection level right here and then another rejection level right here. Price broke up and it continued up. So basically it came up, broke, found support right here, right at these previous resistances, and then it pushed up again. So this could be another key level for price to kind of bounce from or find support just like it did before. So I definitely want to mark that off. And then I want to also mark another level. So we're going to copy this again. And then I want to place it right about here at around 37,100-ish area. We may refine this as we go down on lower time frames, mainly because if I'm looking at this level right here, it's also forming a nice support and rejection level. So we got it 1, 2, 3, 4 times because this kind of looks like a double bottom. So I don't really trade chart patterns, but when I do double bottom, double top, those are the only two that really matter to me. So I really like seeing that when I'm marking off my levels. All right, this is looking nice. And one other thing that I want to mark off here is if I zoom in, I do want to draw a little level right here, mainly because price did come up to this level almost at 40,000, which is the high of this particular market, mainly because price could come back up. And if price does push above this level, then it lets me know that there's a potential for price to go higher. So I just want to make sure that that is marked off on my chart. And the rest of this is looking quite good. So let's go ahead and go down to the 3 hour. And sometimes the 3 hour looks very similar to the 4 hour. There may be minor adjustments, but let's go ahead and reset our chart so we could see. Starting from the top. So one thing I do want to move is this line up a little bit and make that a little bit slimmer. And then also I do want to move this line up a little bit more just because I wanted to perfectly sit right above this resistance and then these rejections right here. Okay, cool. So going down to this other key level that I drew, we do see a lot of consolidation around this level. So I probably do want to make this a little bit slimmer and then shift it a bit. So let me make it a little bit slimmer. And actually I don't want to shift it because this looks good because this is this is the most recent time that price has tapped into this area. You can see that it tapped a couple times and it rejected. And then also right here, it formed a nice little support. It came below this level, but then it came right back up and pushed up a little bit more. So I'm actually liking this level a lot. So if we go down to this next level here around, what is this? 37,700-ish zone, then I'm looking at these two rejections. This is still looking good. I believe these are the most, let me scoot this in so that way it stops adjusting. So if we look at this zone right here, we can see that this was the latest or the most recent time that price tapped into the zone at 37,769 kind of zone. And it's looking quite good to me. I may want to make a minor adjustment, just making my level a little bit slimmer. Now, you don't have to use boxes. You can use lines. That's perfectly fine. I just prefer boxes because I see all of this as a zone. And one of the reasons, another reason why I wanted to adjust this, mainly because we have this resistance level that we talked about before, this resistance level here, and then we have this support that was formed and then pushed up. So I just wanted to refine that zone a little bit more, just so that way it's easier for me. And then this level is actually looking quite good. We'll adjust it a little bit more, just so that way the body of this candle where it stopped is touching that perfectly, and then we have a whole bunch of rejection all throughout here. We have a little gap here, but it still counts as rejection. So let's go ahead and look at H2. So as you can see, we're getting a lot more data here. So I want to make sure that I capture some of these levels. And I am going to draw little boxes. So I'm going to draw one right here. So I'm drawing this right here because I see the support level, but then I also see the support here, and then I see the rejection here. So this could be a really good intraday move. And sometimes I do intraday trades, and I do swing trades. And for the most part, it's my intention to do day trades, but sometimes depending on how much volume is in the market or what is actually happening, it may play out in 20 minutes, an hour, or something like that. So it kind of feels like a scalp, but not really. So let's look at this resistance that was formed right here, and then this support. It looks fine right now, but we may adjust it on lower time frames just so that way we can get a little bit more accuracy. But that was something that was just screaming to me, and I wanted to make that very clear. For when I look at this chart throughout the week, I think I like the rest of this. I don't know if I'll adjust. Yeah, I don't think I'll adjust any of this down here. So, okay, cool. Actually, one thing I will adjust, let me zoom in up here, is this level right here. So pretty much right at this 40,000 mark almost. I wanted to move this line up just because I could see clearly what's happening with these candles. And this lets me know that this is the highest point that price made. And of course, if we push up, we could go even higher. So that is looking good. Okay, let's go to H1. All right, starting from the top, still look good. This still looks good to me. Let me just move it up a little bit because I see these little rejections right here at this 39,858 kind of zone. I'm just trying to see if I see anything else that I may want to mark up. Actually, there is something here. So I'm going to use a line right here. This is a very minor level, but I wanted to mark off this at 39,700-ish kind of zone, mainly because I see all of these rejections in this zone, and this lets me know that this is a somewhat of a strong level. I say somewhat because now we're marking it off on the H1 time frame versus H4 time frame, but I definitely wanted to mark this off. I know last week I marked this off with a box, and it doesn't really matter. It's basically the same thing, but it's just kind of an indicator for me when I'm looking at this in the live market. I think that's fine. Actually, I am going to make this a box just to make it a little consistent since I pointed that out. So, and it doesn't matter. This is just all personal preference. So and I'm gonna make it a little bit longer, mainly because price is all the way down here. It may take some time for price to come back up here, and this level may not even be relevant by the time it comes back up, but it could be. So I want to mark it off. Why not? We can always delete it. Okay, cool. All right. I don't want this to get too crazy with lines. So let me go ahead and look at this lower level right here and see if I still like this. So if I'm analyzing this, I do like it right here. I may want to make this box a little bit slimmer. Okay, great. So the main reason why I still like this is because we have a candle that formed bullish, closed up above this level, making if I'm looking at this in a real market, yeah, this is around the time I would have been looking at it anyway. But if I'm looking at it, I'm like, okay, there's a possibility for this to continue to go up. And this, it did come up, but it rejected, closed back down, and then it retested this level and then just sold off like crazy. I think by this time I was out of the market. I believe I took a buy, not in here. Was this on Wednesday? It was on Thursday, I think. Let me see. Yeah, I took a buy. I think I took a quick buy somewhere in the 5 or 6 o'clock hour. Then it shot up and then I got out just because I saw all of this right here and I didn't know what the market was going to do. This was kind of looking like a retest and you can see that's exactly what it did. So got out of the market, got a little bit of profit. So that's cool. But it would have been nice to catch these sells. This would have been amazing. All right. Anyway, so I'm liking this level right here. And still liking the support level. Let me scoot on over. Still, yeah, I'm still liking that. Okay, cool. And you don't have to go all the way back to a couple months, but it's just good to just kind of see what happened in the past. And did I have another? Yep, I had another level. And then this is way in the past. So, but I still like the way that it looks. I may want to make this a little bit slimmer. If I can find the end. Yeah, a little bit slimmer. And scoot it back over. Okay, cool. And then adjust this so that way we got the support right there. Awesome. So I got the support around 37,775. Ooh, these are some nice rejections right here. Wow, this was a crazy one. All right, cool. All right, so I'm liking the way that this is looking. Let me go ahead and reset it just because I drew a whole bunch of zones. So this is pretty much my markup for this week. And what I will be looking for. So price is clearly in a downtrend right now. We got this lower low, lower high right here, a lower low, and then a lower high right there. So that's an obvious downtrend. And I would only be interested in buys in a couple of situations. So the first off, and this is a little risky right here, but I would be interested in a buy above this 39,000 flat level, mainly because if price breaks above this 39,000 level, then there's a possibility for price to go up to 39,327. So this would be more like a day trade. So I would probably look for price to come up. Actually, I drew that wrong. Let me do this again. All right. So what I would be looking for is actually from this level right here. Okay, right there, awesome. Okay, so from this level right here, so the market's closed right now. So by the time I get to the charts in the morning, it could look totally different, and then I'll have to reanalyze. But at this point, what I would be looking for is for price to get out of the zone, and I would want for price to come up, form some sort of high, come back into the zone, kind of retest it, and I want to see if it's rejecting or not. And if it's rejecting, then that'll give me more confidence to take it all the way up here. And this is kind of a tricky zone, mainly because price did come up before, but then the next candle closed down. And then it came up here before, but then it couldn't break any of these highs, and then it just sold off like crazy. So I believe that there was also some news catalysts that were happening. Jerome Powell was speaking, and some other people were speaking. There was also on Wednesday the ADP unemployment claim. So basically, it's kind of a first look into NFP, which is non-farm payrolls, which basically is a economic gauge as to whether or not how fast or how slowly people are losing their jobs. So that comes out, NFP comes out every single month at the first Friday of the month. So there was just a lot of news catalysts that were happening last week. And I'm expecting to see a correction of some sort eventually, but it just kind of depends. But that would be one play that I am looking for this upcoming week. And then above this level, specifically this kind of zone right here, I would be looking for buys. So let me mark this off right there, and then let me put another little arrow right here, because this will be actually right here. This will be safer. I mean, you could take a buy somewhere down here, but in my opinion, it would be kind of risky. And then down here, Potentially a buy, but I kind of don't want to mark that off just because I need more data. So, but definitely, let me zoom out a little bit. Okay, but definitely, if we look in the past, we can see that price did bounce off of this level. So, in order for me to feel comfortable with taking a buy at this level, I would want to see a breakdown and then some kind of crazy consolidation happening here, and then for price to come up back up to this level. Like that's when I would feel confident with taking a buy there. But for the most part, I would be more looking for sells because that's the momentum of the market currently. So say I see a break, a retest, that's one of my favorite setups, and then come down here. So from sell from a 39,500-ish zone or 550-ish zone, and then coming all the way down to 37,792-ish zone. So these are all zones. It's not going to be a perfect price, mainly because of this that happened in the past. We saw that price bounce off of this level one, two, three, kind of four times. So that could be a really good move right there. And yeah, this is pretty much my trading plan for this upcoming week. So, of course, if you want to see more content like this, go ahead and subscribe and get that notification bell rung. And we'll see you next time. Bye.